Vampires, werewolves, the devil himself. These are creatures designed to terrify us, and yet, we don't just fear them. We romanticize them, we sexualize them, we obsess over them. From Dracula to Twilight, from Beauty and the Beast to the modern obsession with toxic attraction, one question keeps coming back. Why are we so drawn to the dark? This isn't just about spooky stories or a bit of fantasy escapism. There is a deep psychological pull at work here, one that reveals hidden desires most of us would never consciously admit. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why danger can feel so attractive, why the beast is often irresistible, and why this theme of darkness keeps showing up in our ideas of love, power, and even our modern technology. Let's start with a simple idea. Monsters were never just monsters. In ancient myths, they weren't random villains. They were symbols. They represented hunger, rage, desire, chaos, and raw power, everything that society told people they had to suppress. As civilization evolved, these monsters didn't just disappear. They just got better costumes. And today, they're no longer just enemies. They're misunderstood icons. They're anti-heroes. They're even romantic leads. Because monsters act out the impulses that we humans are forced to restrain. They don't ask for permission. They don't apologize for what they want. They don't negotiate with their own fear. And watching that safely from a distance does something incredibly powerful to our minds. It's a form of release. The famous psychologist Carl Jung had a name for this part of ourselves: the shadow. Your shadow is the part of your personality that contains all your repressed desires, forbidden thoughts, aggression, sexuality, and power fantasies. It has everything you've ever been taught to hide to be considered a good or civilized person. The more civilized a society becomes, the stronger and more repressed the shadow grows. But you don't get rid of it just by ignoring it. Instead, you project it. You project it onto villains in movies, onto monsters in books, onto dangerous people you see in the world. And that's why darkness feels so magnetic. You're not actually attracted to evil. You're attracted to your own suppressed energy, which has finally been given a face. Monsters let you explore that powerful, hidden side of yourself without any of the real-world consequences. It's a safe way to dance with your own inner darkness. This brings us to a concept I call erotic danger. Why does a sense of threat sometimes feel arousing? Neurologically, the experience of danger and the experience of arousal activate very similar systems in your brain and body. Think about it. An elevated heart rate, heightened focus, a feeling of losing control. Sound familiar? But here's the crucial part. People aren't attracted to danger itself. They're attracted to danger that restrains itself. This is exactly why vampires have come to dominate erotic fantasy. They are the ultimate predators. They are incredibly powerful and fully capable of destruction. But in these stories, they choose not to destroy. The bite becomes an intimate act. Consent becomes central to the story. Control is everything. A vampire doesn't just take you. It waits for an invitation. And that tension, the knowledge that I could hurt you, but I won't, is one of the strongest erotic triggers that exists. It's a dance of power and surrender that feels both safe and thrilling. And this exact dynamic leads us directly into one of the oldest and most powerful fantasies humanity has ever told. The story of Beauty and the Beast. At its core, this story isn't really about romance. It's about power being domesticated by intimacy. The beast represents raw strength, emotional volatility, and uncontrolled desire. He is chaos personified. Beauty, on the other hand, represents moral grounding, emotional intelligence, and social order. She is a civilizing force. The fantasy here isn't, oh, I love a monster. The real, deeper fantasy is, if someone this dangerous, this powerful, softens just for me, then I must be truly special. This pattern repeats everywhere in our culture. Think of the bad boys who supposedly change for her, or the emotionally unavailable men who suddenly open up and commit, or powerful public figures who show their vulnerable, private side to only one person. It's not really about fixing someone. It's about being the exception. It's the ultimate validation. And monsters embody that fantasy perfectly because they represent the ultimate challenge, the ultimate test of that specialness. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. We live in a world where many people feel increasingly powerless, politically powerless, economically unstable, socially monitored, and morally constrained. There are rules and expectations everywhere. Monsters offer a powerful counter-fantasy to all of this. They don't answer to systems. They don't play by society's rules. And they certainly don't fear the consequences of their actions. When you identify with them, even subconsciously, you get to borrow a piece of their power. This is why dark aesthetics and dark stories tend to surge in popularity during times of great social uncertainty. It's why anti-heroes often outperform pure clean-cut heroes at the box office. And it's why villain origin stories have become so incredibly popular. They give people a sense of agency and control in a world that often feels completely uncontrollable. There's one last layer to this, and it might be the most important one for our modern world. Dark figures, throughout history, have often been keepers of forbidden knowledge. They possess occult secrets, ancient truths, or an understanding of hidden systems of power. They know things that normal people don't. Today, that archetype has evolved. The new forbidden knowledge isn't found in a dusty old book of spells. It's found in AI, in algorithms, in the control of data, and in the invisible influence that technology has over our lives. Our modern monsters don't lurk in castles anymore. They live in code. And just like with the old monsters, people are both terrified and fascinated by this, because forbidden knowledge always promises a form of transcendence. The thinking goes, if I can understand what others don't, then I am no longer powerless. It's the same ancient myth, just wearing a new skin. So, what does all of this mean? Our fascination with monsters, with darkness, isn't some unhealthy flaw. It's actually a psychological necessity. These figures allow us to explore desire without guilt, power without consequence, and darkness without true destruction. They are a mirror for the parts of ourselves we're not allowed to show. The real danger isn't loving monsters. The real danger is pretending we don't have a monster of our own inside of us. If this video made you rethink attraction, power, or the stories you find yourself drawn to, then you already understand why these myths have survived for thousands of years. If you want to know about real monsters, you should watch the next video in which I talk about dark depths of narcissists that are very real.